I love it. I love it. I love it. So you took the mask off. This is the Emotional Gymnastics for Real Estate Agents COVID edition. We have Priyanka, the holiday COVID edition. Sorry, holiday COVID. We have Priyanka in a Santa hat with a mask on a minute ago with the dog behind her. So I'm welcome in LCA land. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on the Zoom, we have a Q&A section and a chat box. You can type in questions there if you want to join in and chat live with us. But we're just going to roll at this because we got Priyanka Johri, who's from Houston, Janki Patel, Northern California, Jim Goodwin, Kansas City. We could introduce ourselves, but if they've watched other webinars, I think they might know a little bit about us. I mean, I'm Jesse Zagorsky, and I don't know how my role fits in the group, but like, do we agree or disagree, guys, sometimes on this stuff?
No, well, we do.
We agree and disagree. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. What'd you say, Janki?
We're very authentic. We do this. Come on, we're real. We have no fakeness right here. Like this is who our clients are gonna get. This is who we are, and that's exactly what our topic is about today, right?
It is. So the topic is radical authenticity, right? And I'd say let's just jump in. So the whole idea behind Emotional Gymnastics for Real Estate Agents, in case they've never seen one of these webinars before, it's just about developing skill sets that as realtors, we need to help deal with clients, that we need to help make our clients feel better, that we ourselves can use to help sell more houses in less time, and just ways that these will translate to skills for life. So the topic that we're throwing out here for the day, or the theme for the day, and we got a bunch of different questions around it, is radical authenticity. So I'll throw it out to Jim, because I think this was Jim who even suggested this to start. What does radical authenticity mean to you?
Well, I think to begin, we have to kind of break it down even more than that, right? We have to figure out what authenticity is before we can figure out what being radical and authentic at the same time, right?
Okay.
So authenticity is pretty self-explanatory, being authentic, right? And so.
But when you say authentic, you mean like being who you are, like being true to yourself? Like, what do you mean authentic?
Being who you are, being true to yourself.
Being real, being genuine, being real, no fakeness, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna make a pretty bold statement here, but I'm gonna go ahead and assert that human beings are inherently inauthentic.
Tell me more.
And so developing authenticity comes from the awareness that we are inherently inauthentic and becoming more authentic, more to ourselves. Because if you think about it, like all of our experience is colored by our life. So you have certain experiences in life, and then they affect the way that you perform and you think about things in the next time you're in a conversation with somebody or your next relationship that you're in. That stuff comes with you. So that is just an example of how inauthenticity starts to creep in, is that life happens and we interpret things and color things in different ways. And so creating authenticity comes from the awareness that we're inherently inauthentic. We understand that we have life experiences and it colors our actions going forward, and then recognizing that and then practicing authenticity.
So what is the radical part then? What is radical authenticity? Like, is it really just like is it, because I mean, if anyone's watching this has ever heard the term radical authenticity, sometimes it gets made fun of because it's like, you just get to say whatever you want to say and be a jerk, right? Is that what it means? You get to say whatever's on your mind and be a jerk? Or what is the radical part of radical authenticity? Anybody?
Well, so the definition of radical is fundamentally affecting the nature of things. So fundamentally recognizing that inauthenticity exists, and then being aware of that in every situation, every interaction, and practicing the practice of being authentic in every interaction that we have. So it's not something that we can just have. And then I think the radical part is when we take it from being a practice into it being our nature, like part of who we are.
So Priyanka or Janki, you guys, because both of you guys, I would say, pretty much illustrate in my mind this concept of radical authenticity. You guys are who you are, whether you're on a webinar with a client, with your family. You guys probably are who you are. Do you guys agree with that statement?
Totally.
Right. So like Jim's point, when Jim is saying like different experience, color our view of life, and we are not authentic, I think all the experiences that we are experiencing changes, and it is being authentic, right? So if we are showing to the world who we are, but it's, you will say, tainted from the experiences, that's who we are.
Yeah.
Because it has fixed us, right?
Just being himself.
Right. So where does the inauthenticity comes from? I think that's harder. Most people would rather be who they are, and society puts that pressure on them, like, oh, you need to be more polite, you need to be more this, you need to be more that. I think it's more of a societal pressure. So I actually think most people want to be authentic, and if they let their guard down, they are who they are. So that's what you see, right? Among your friends, among the people that you're comfortable with. But then somebody comes along and says like, oh, Priyanka, dressing up in jeans is not the professional look for a realtor, right? You are doing. I don't care, because that's how I dress up 90% of the time.
Yeah. It is who you are, genuinely.
And if my client is not going to hire me because I'm wearing a jeans, that is not my client, right? Because I don't give a damn about superficial, what people look like.
Yeah.
I talk to you, and doesn't matter, you can be dressed to the nine. If we connect, we connect. I'm not scared of you. I'm not like, oh my God, you're a big shot kind of thing. And I can talk to you if you're in jeans and slippers. It's the person that is inside. That's who I'm connecting with.
Right.
I have, like, for me, so why would I dress up for them? I have clients that I have met on golf course, and they're in Bermuda shorts and playing golf, and we had a great conversation and we moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it comes from outside pressures versus inside. So what Jim was saying, I thought you were saying that it comes from inside. People are not genuine, and it's hard for them to be authentic. I think it's the other way around. Like, people want to be genuine and authentic. It's so much more pressure to be somebody different than who you are.
Yeah. I totally believe, I totally agree with both of you in a way, 50-50. I think
You're so polite.
I'm trying. See, there you go. That's my authentic self, trying to be polite, but genuinely speaking, am I really that person inside? I can tell you, Priyanka, you're wrong, and Jim, you're wrong, but there is no wrong or right in this, right? I mean, we're all trying to make a point here, is that what does authenticity mean to you is different from what it means to someone else. For me,
absolutely,
I am very much authentic when it comes to my clients, when it comes to sharing, talking about the product, talking about, guiding them, educating them, and helping them with their process. I'm very genuine, whether they like it or not. For example, one of the properties yesterday, the agent said, yeah, we'll accept your preemptive offer. And we were ready to write. And I said, wait, hold on, to my buyer's agent. I said, did you review the disclosures and the home inspection report? Well, guess what? In the home inspection report, it said foundation crack. Now, of course, that was a big, huge thing. My agent was able to get that offer accepted, but no, we cannot move forward on it. Why? Because there's additional work that needs to get done. Are you ready for it, Mr. Buyer? And that was a red light right there, right? So that was being honest, genuine, authentic, to telling them, no, you can't buy this house. I'm sorry. You can't buy it. And they were like, well, how much money does it cost? We could go and talk to contractors, but wouldn't you want to spend the same dollar amount on another home that has no issues? Wait a little bit. It's okay. We'll find the perfect home. But this, you want to move in right away and then deal with this headache? Think about it. Right. So that was genuine, coming from inside, coming from within, being honest with them, letting them know. And that's where my authenticity came in. It's like, no, you're not buying the house. I'm sorry.
And that's what I was going to ask. So in terms of relating radical authenticity to the world of real estate, right? Because mainly real estate agents, you guys watching this, everyone on screen is a real estate agent. Most people watching this, real estate agents. Is it about being authentic to yourself? Because in that particular case, Janki, you believed it was important to tell them because they couldn't move forward? Because I know, Priyanka, I've heard you tell stories all the times of you telling people, do not buy this house. Is that part of the authenticity, or is that just being in integrity? I mean, if you don't say things because you're worried about your commission, like, how does that relate?
I think think authentic being is true to yourself, right? So if you're not going to compromise your integrity for next deal or the commission or anything like that, I think I first answer to myself more than my client, right? First, I have to be genuine to myself before I can be genuine to my client. And if I feel like I have clients who are as pushy as me, right? I have high D, high personality. Typical.
That's not possible.
Try me. So, but I get those kind of clients too. And they push back as hard. Like, I'm paying for the house. I want to buy the house. And I'll say, okay, find somebody else because you hired me for a reason and you're not listening to me, right? So it's easy for me, or it can be easy for me just like, okay, fine. I told you and you're still not listening to me. Write the contract, sign the contract. I will present it. But then I just like, can I sleep at night? Knowing that they are making a mistake.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's where I think that balance comes in. Like, I'm not balanced because I'm just going like, nope, I would rather not have a commission and you go find another realtor because you're not listening to me and you hired me for a reason.
Right.
And you're not taking my experience and my expertise in consideration. Then why do you even need me? Call the listing agent and sign the contract because I'm not getting paid for something that I do not feel right about.
I like what you said because I say the same thing, Priyanka. I say, I want to sleep at night. Mm-hmm. I really, for me, that means that I want to sleep with a peaceful mind, knowing I did the right thing for a client.
And that's really what it's all about. It's all about peace of mind.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're being authentic, is because you have a continuous peace of mind. And you are doing the thing that needs to be done and saying the thing that needs to be said, even when it's difficult.
Even when it's difficult.
So before we move on from this just basic concept of radical authenticity with real estate, you mentioned about you wear jeans, Priyanka. There was a webinar that they did in LCA.
I'm still wearing jeans if you can shoot.
I love it. So, okay, so if you guys have, there's a webinar they did the other day. If you want to go check it out in LCA, it's on like Michigan's top inked realtors or something like that. I mean, there's a whole thing in terms of just physical appearance for authenticity, right? How does that relate in terms of real estate for you guys, in terms of what you wear, how you look? I mean, does that play into this concept of radical authenticity at all?
I think it's all about the conversation that you have and the expectation that you set with your people.
Right.
I had a client who referred me one of her friends. And I drove up to the house. I have never met them before. And they called me and it's like, hey, so-and-so referred us to you. I want to see this house. Can you show it to me? And this is from a very close client. Like, I really like, if she has referred me, I don't have to ask them, like, are you pre-qualified? Are you ready to buy the house? Nothing, no questions. Say, okay, I'll come and show you. And I go there. They were already there, standing in front of the house. I get out of my car and they started talking to each other. And then they started laughing and I got to them and they just like, okay, let's see this house. I said, okay, so I showed them the house. And as we were coming out, it's like, wife said, my husband just said that you cannot retire from real estate until we buy our next house. And then we sell that and go into a downsized house after our kids go to college. Their kids are in 5th grade, I think, in 4th grade and in 7th grade. I was like, why? He said, like, we have gone through 5 different realtors. We have been looking for a house for 2 years. Every realtor was really dressed very nice. And when you walked out of the car, you don't have makeup on, you're in jeans and slippers and t-shirt, and you did not care about the appearance, and you're just walking to us so confidently. And when you were showing the house, you were just like, oh, this is good. We can move this wall and make this living room open. No, we can't do this over there. You were just like, boom. And my husband said upstairs when you came down and we were still upstairs that we found the realtor for life. And please tell her she cannot retire until we downsize and move into our permanent retired home.
I love it.
I helped them buy another home and they still joke about it. It's like, you're not retiring, right? And it came from just being me and showing up in jeans and t-shirt. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure the groundwork was done from my client who referred them, right? Like, oh, this is a fantastic realtor or whatever they said, I don't know. So they had that trust. But it worked in my favor that, oh, we have other 4 or 5 realtors and we were never convinced with them. And here you come, you're so different and you know what you're doing and you're so straightforward. We love it. And most of my clients, that is their thing. And at times we had where the pushback, like I said, my clients are as high Ds as me. That's why I click and understand. And they push back. And we had fights. I mean, I literally had fights with my client, which is completely unprofessional. I have sat and cried in front of my clients, right? I have left clients on the side of the road because a dog is hit and I need to go rescue them. And that is who I am, right? But my clients accept it. And I think that genuine relationship that develops because of that, I will say 98 to 99% of my clients are my friends. And I'm not saying it's like friends on Facebook. I mean friends. So in last 1 week, I had one client call me and say, Priyanka, are you still doing real estate? And I was like, yeah, why would you ask? I said, thank God, because if you were not, my heart would have been broken. I was like, what happened? And I was like, we are buying our next house. And I have sold them a house 2 years ago. It's like down the road, there's a house on 5 acres and it's a big shop, blah, blah, blah. But we want you to sell our house and buy that one. And I just want to make sure. And then they posted it on Facebook saying that like, we're so glad she's still in business kind of thing. Then another client calls and says, my neighbor is selling her house and I need to protect her. So you need to call her, and I have given her your number and she needs to call. Please make sure that you take care of her. So where does that come from? Because these people are looking after me, right? But they have that friendship. It's not like, oh, give me a referral. I never asked. They were asking like, are you still doing real estate? Because I keep posting about dogs versus real estate. But that's where that friendship, I never have to ask for referrals from my clients because they take care of me. If somebody else is who's close in their circle, they want them to be protected, right? And that's where that authenticity pays off. Not like I'm wearing a jeans or t-shirt. It's like, how do I take care of people?
Yeah.
I think that's so important in our business as well. How do we take care of people? How do we talk to them? How do we protect them? What are we doing for them? What extra miles are we going to protect them? It's not about us. A lot of people, the misconception of our business basically to a consumer out there is, oh, they're glorified salespeople, right? Known as glorified salespeople. That is the notion that we need to kill out there. And we need to say, we're genuinely not glorified real, salespeople. We are genuinely here to help you build your, real estate portfolio. How can we do that? If we're not honest with ourselves, if we're not genuine within ourselves, if we are not letting our guards down in front of our clients, then who really are we, right? What are we showing them about us? Like, I will tell you, I'm very straight up and honest, just like Priyanka, if I don't want to work with you, I will tell you, look, it's not going to be a good match for us because this is who I am.
All right. So I got to ask you, because this is one of the questions. You get told, Janki, that you are often too emotional, correct? I mean, does that some people tell you that you're too emotional? Because that's what you told me before we went out, right? Last week we were talking about this. You said, yeah, I get told I'm too emotional. Tell me about that. How does that come up when people tell you you're too emotional?
Well, okay, so just an example of this. This happened this morning. Yesterday, I launched my course on lead conversions, right, with another street text. And, we had over 200 people on the webinar. And of course, I'm just like myself, just talking about the course and, coming from real, genuine, authentic self. Like, hey, you're not going to do the course. You're not going to follow what I've put out there. Don't need to buy it, right? We had good just yesterday, we had over close to 100 sales. Fast forward to today. Obviously, people are getting into the course, reading it. And, there was this one guy, I don't know what his problem is, but the one guy, he just basically said, oh, this is very expensive to pay this kind of price for the course. All it has is this and this. And, of course, and all the other people that are purchasing it, they're really putting good comments out there. They're really saying, they're speaking good about it. Love the course, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. This is a question we have. This guy out of nowhere says something like this. How do I take it? Do I just go there and just say, you know what? Why did you buy it? Do I act emotionally, or do I really be genuine and tell him, if it doesn't work for you, don't use it? How would you say when you're an emotional person, but then you have that high D in you, what do you genuinely say to that person? So what did I say? I basically I wanted to tell them off, I'm like, why are you buying it? Like, go get another course. You know what I said? I said, thank you. I appreciate you, buying the course. However, if this doesn't work out for you, it's okay. We'll refund. I'm sure they'll refund you. It's not me, but I'm sure they will refund you. And that's it. I wanted to say so much, but I didn't. That's not my true authentic self, though.
Well, that's my question. So is there a connection between being authentic and being emotional?
I think so. Priyanka, what do you think?
I would have told them exactly what I would have been feeling, right? So I am emotional, but my emotions comes out to when it's related to dogs or when it related to my senior residents.
Well,
that's why I'm like, I really lose control of my emotions.
Right.
And I'm not like, in control. But when it comes down to real estate business, like something like that, I was like, well, it doesn't work for everybody. And
Right.
everybody has a personality. So, if you want to get your money back, that's fine. But that's how I would have felt exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it was a little bit more emotional and personal.
Right.
Like, it was like, you are saying that because it's my course, everybody's saying good things. And you did say that you have so many people who said a lot of good things, but this one person stood out to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your emotional part comes in, but then you were not the way you responded, because that's the society's pressure, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
if you do that, then everybody says, oh, she's too emotional.
Right. But of course, I took that conversation in the back end with, the people that I, have really trust with, and I just went off. That's where my emotional rage went off.
Well, hold right there. So Jim, did you have something? Because you wanted to go, Jim, were you trying to jump in for a minute?
Yeah, I think that, Janki, what you said was the authentic part. And just hear me out for a second. So you evaluated what the best thing was for both parties involved. So you originally had a thought, and you were going to go with who you think you are and just spew out that thought. Then you stopped, said to yourself, what is the best thing for me to do in this situation for not only myself, but for the other person? What is going to resolve the issue the best? And then you went with that.
Right.
That's the authenticity.
Of course, in the background, I was screaming and saying, that was the emotional part of me, right? That was just not happy with the answer or what I said. But I knew that I had to politely, just say, okay, great. Thank you for your feedback or whatever, right? But of course, in the back, I'm screaming. And that's what, like I said, my emotional side coming out. And that was maybe my genuine side saying, oh, what, and then of course, when I hung up or when I got over the conversation, I screamed. And I'm like, because I know how passionate, just like Priyanka is so passionate about, her dogs and the seniors that she has. I am very passionate about teaching. I'm very passionate about what I put out there in the real estate world, because this is my life doing, right? I went from broke to being who I am today, and the life journey that I've had through real estate, ups and downs and all of that. We lost everything we had.
But that's why I want to know more from Jim though. So how is that necessarily her being that? How is that the authenticity? Because like really, she wants to scream and be like right. So how is that?
Because we are not our thoughts, feelings, and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that. That's something that we take on over time. We're not inherently emotional. That's something that was built on your character over time. So the authentic thing is really getting back to your core and deciding internally to not fly off the handle and do the first thing that you spout off with. It's oh my God, I'm going to take a second and really think about this and decide to do something different that I know is best for me and the other person involved. That's real authenticity.
I love it. I love it. So are there different levels? Go ahead, Janki.
I was like, wow, well said, Jim, because I would have never thought of it like that. I would say, is that really me? But like I said, I'm growing, just coming to just doing these panels with you guys. It has grown me to be who I am today, because it has always you remember, I'm an emotional person. You guys all know that, how I take that, how seriously I take it to my core. And I have learned, like from Jim and Priyanka, that yeah, you say what you want to say, and then how do you act upon it? Sometimes you want to be genuine, and Jesse says this to me all the time. Wait, you are emotional, but how do you genuinely or authentically want to say it out to the other person, right? I wanted to scream, I wanted to like just, but at that moment, all I did is I put a smile on my face and I said, thank you. Thank you for the feedback, and that's it. Nip it in the bud and let it go. Let him go ahead and talk. He continued talking. So the authentic side of me did come out, but then the professional side of me came out stronger.
Mm-hmm.
That's where what Jim was saying, I'm not connecting with that, because what Jim is saying for me is a spiritual journey to get to the point where you don't have those emotions. Most human beings are not there. I have taken that journey back and forth. It is not something like, you get there and you can stay there. I have moments where I was like completely zen and nothing was affecting me in life. And then you take little step backs and then you say, oh, I'm going there again. It's like a going back and forth kind of thing. You go to that zen space, you go to that. And I don't think that's authentic. I think for me, authentic is who I am at this moment. My emotion is part of my existence, right? So because I feel emotions, that's why I want to rescue dogs. Because I feel so close to my residents, that's why I want to take care of them. If I'm not feeling those emotions, then like Buddha, right? He walked away from everything. He says the whole reason for misery in this world is the emotions. And none of us are there. Like very few human beings achieve that spiritual level where you can say like, oh, I don't feel emotions, or I'm not going to let emotions affect you. Jim is there.
No,
but for most,
100% not there.
You're getting close.
Did you just compare Jim and the Buddha in the same sense? Like that's Jim.
Almost.
But I'm not there.
Hey, everybody has Buddha in them.
Jim does remind me of that. Jim does remind me of that, because the way he just said what he said to me, that, oh, that's genuine, that's really authentic. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that anyone should try to devoid their emotions. I think that's physically an impossibility. We're always going to have an emotional state. It is a natural characteristic of being human. What I'm saying is the authentic part is not letting yourself be ruled by your emotion.
Right.
That is so hard, and that's why we are here, and that's why we have this program, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy to say, but it's really hard to achieve.
But
right?
but Janki did it in the moment. She did it right there in the moment.
Was it that, or was it the practical side of her coming out, saying like, I can't do this in public? What she's saying is like in the background, she was screaming and she was showing her emotion, but in a public front, she came up with this different front and said like, something else that is more practical.
I think the authentic part of it isn't necessarily what she said. I think the authentic part of it is the pausing for a second and analyzing the situation.
And I think what Jim's getting at is, guys, if you look at where the emotions are coming from, or if you look at kind of like the undercurrent, the emotion was coming from, and just to put a name to it, Janki, like really a little place of defensiveness, right? This course is very important to you. You feel very good for what it is. And I'm not making you wrong for it. It's very natural to have that feeling. Someone challenges what you've built that you're proud of. It's natural to get defensive. And so that line between what's being brash versus being authentic, I think when you're in a property and you're sharing your true views, like, no, you can't buy this. Like, that's different than being like, if you feel like someone's coming at you and you go in a defensive way to like, right? Like that's the difference between the underlying thought process behind that emotion that will allow you to either be like, okay, this is the authentic me. Or if you would have told this guy to kick rocks and be like, well, my course is great and you suck. Not that you're going to say that, but like, it wouldn't have felt good later anyway. Like, like you immediately have been like, did I really write that email? I mean, I'm sure everyone watching this, go ahead and type in the box if you want. Cause like Krista before said she was told she was too nice to the other agent, but like, I'm curious, anyone watching this, type in the box. Have you ever sent a message when you immediately were like, oh, that didn't make me feel better. I shouldn't have sent that, or said it out loud. You're like,
or said something to your spouse or your significant other or your kids or your friends. Like it happens all the time.
All the time. Just the other day, I kind of chewed him out for no reason. And then I realized, oh my God, I do that too often, Like, why did I say that?
So what if you say that? Like one of my very close friends, one of my best friends said something really, really, really hurtful and mean 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like she was going through some emotional stuff, right? And I just looked at her and was like, I can't believe you said that to me. And her face was like, I know, I can't believe I said that to you, but I'm hurting. I said, I know, but that's okay. And I just let it go. And that's where the emotional part, because I am very emotional, it's just like, this was something that I had to teach myself. Everybody has a bad day, right?
Yes, sir.
If I react to reaction, right, versus action, like if I react to somebody's bad day, I'm gonna have a bad day too.
Mm-hmm.
So I taught myself, if somebody's reacting at that moment, I'm gonna stop myself from that reaction. And then I will still talk to them about that, right? I'm not gonna just let it slide, but at that moment, I'm just gonna restrain myself and I'm not gonna let myself.
But here's the difference, Priyanka, and I just realized it when you said it. Ready? When you said, I can't believe you said that to me, I believe you were making yourself vulnerable in that statement, as opposed to in the story with Janki a minute ago, her natural response was to be like, how could you, like, it's coming from vulnerability and opening up, looking for connection, versus coming from a defensive stance of like, I'm going to push away and do that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Another thing I have taught myself is like, I would not take criticism from somebody I won't take an advice from, right?
Right.
So this person who said something like that to you, would you take their advice? If you won't take their advice, why would you take their criticism?
Yeah.
Let it slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Totally agree with you. And that's when I said, you know, what really genuinely matters? What matters is what I'm putting out there authentically of what's working for me in my business and helping those agents that are struggling. Why am I doing that? Why is that so important to me? It's because I was there once. I was struggling there once. And I don't want someone to struggle when I already have a blueprint that is working for me. Why can I not share it with somebody? Right. And that was the authentic me wanting to share, wanting to help. That's just who I am at heart. Right. Like Priyanka is, like Jim is, like you, Jesse, you know, you're doing this because you want people to realize that there's an emotional side of real estate as well. How do you, and the gymnastics comes into where, how do you handle it, right? Emotionally, authentically, there's so many different, you know, adjectives for it, but how do you really handle the emotional side of our real estate business?
That's why we're here, right, Jim?
That's right. Well, are you really asking that question?
No, I mean, I mean, go for it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The thing that always works for me is asking questions.
Yeah.
I really dig into my clients and ask a lot of questions and make sure that there's nothing that's there for them. There's nothing that is incomplete where they are. So I am doing everything I can on a consistent basis to make sure that they have nothing going on over there that they're not telling me.
Right.
Because I'm consistently asking, and I'm consistently saying, how are we doing so far? How is the service that I'm providing so far? Is there anything that I can be doing differently? And then I get then I get all of that out of them, and I think that's the radical part of the piece of it is being willing to have that conversation with your client or Priyanka, with the person that yelled at you. If you yelled at them and they are upset about it, not having the conversation is the inauthentic part. Having it and clearing it up and making sure that there's nothing left over there with them where they are, that's the radical part.
I love that.
Yeah.
So Jim, when you say that you're asking your clients again and again, aren't you providing your best already? Then when you're asking them, what else can I do different? Do you want to do it differently?
It doesn't matter what my best is. It makes no difference because everyone is different and they have their own personality, and the way that I think that they want to be served, and I'm serving their best way that I think that they want to be served, isn't correct. The best way that they need to be served, I haven't found out yet because I didn't ask the question. So like I can guess and say, this is how I typically do it, and I'm going to do it this way. Or I can have that conversation and say, hey, how would you like me to handle the situation? How would you like me to serve you the best? And I'm getting it from them. And then that allows their curtain to fall and the doors to open for them to be really honest with me and say, and tell me exactly what they want. Otherwise, I'm guessing what they want and they're not really being open with me.
And tell me why it's important to you is another question I ask all the time too, right? I mean, you want to know why is certain things important to them? I always say ask key questions to dig a little deeper. You want to get to know their authentic. A lot of people tend to hide why they're buying. What is their reason? Is it for an investment? In the sense, is it for a son, for a daughter, the future? What is it and why is it that they're looking to buy or looking to sell? What is the true reason, right? And we have to find out what the real motivation is. One of our clients, he said he can only go up to 1.15. Guess what? When I dug a little deeper, and this was my buyer's agent, when I went with my buyer's agent, she was like, I can't get any offers accepted. I said, let's go. Let me see what the issue is here. I went with her the other day. I asked a few questions. I dug a little deeper and found out this guy can go up to 1.250. Why are we shorting ourselves 100,000?
But why did you just say that? Like, why are we shorting ourselves 100,000? Because that just became like about you versus the client.
No, not me, about the client, right? So we're asking the client that question, right? Tell us why do you want to stay at 1.150 and not go up to 1.210 if you have that perfect home? What is stopping you, right? Asking the key questions is what I meant. And that's what we have to do, is ask those questions and say, well, if you found that perfect home, are you willing to go up to 1.210 or 1.21, whatever the number is? And he said, yeah, absolutely. That was the missing piece. Well, how was it the missing piece? And what's so authentic about what I asked? And he genuinely came back to me and said, well, why? Well, the reason was he was hiding that specific price point because, or not telling us, was because of the fact that he thought he was overpaying in this market. So that was an educational piece from a buyer's agent to understand that should have been talked about in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. We're always learning. And he wasn't authentic. He wasn't, in my opinion, he wasn't telling us what we wanted to hear from the get-go because we didn't ask the right questions.
Yeah.
I think I'm just bossy because you guys run your business so differently than me. I just assume, like, if you are calling me, you picked up the phone and you called me and you want to buy a house, you want to buy a house. And there's like no hidden reason or anything like that. And but I also, like, Jim says, like, he wants to serve clients the way they want to be served. And for me, it's just like, I can't work with you because we are not on the same wavelength. Yeah, no, my personality and your personality clash. So most of my clients are very, very similar to me. And I have turned people down saying, like, after talking to them, like, we are not going to work out. I can't handle very emotional clients. It's like, really, I do not have patience and I do not want, and I tell them, like, I am not the best realtor for you. And let me introduce you to some of it, right? So I don't go through that. I was like, this is my personality. This is your personality. We work great. Let's go. But most of the AD personalities know exactly what they want. They tell you what they want in first meeting, and we just go. So I don't ask that many questions. I usually boss my clients around and tell them, like, okay, this is a great house. We're going to this area. You need to up your price. Like, okay, it's 1.1, but 1.2 is really what you want.
Right. That being said, I'm exactly the same way, Priyanka. I had to fire 5 clients last week, and I was perfectly fine doing that because when their intentions are not honest and they're not authentic with me, then that becomes very difficult and challenging, right? To serve what their needs are.
They're not trying to.
And most of the buyers say that because they feel like if they tell the real price to a realtor is going to try to sell them that highest price, right? They're only going to show them the home. Once they tell them, like, I can go up to 1.25, then we are only going to show them homes around that price range versus 1.1. And my thing is like, hey, so this is what you want to see. We are going to see between like 100,000 below and 100,000 or up, and we will decide at that time. And that just frees them. And sometimes, like, I love to negotiate. I would tell them, like, I have sold a client a home, $650,000 that was qualified and was looking at $850,000 home because this home was fantastic. It had everything they wanted. And I was like, no, this is your home. And then you have money to put a pool in that you want. And they did. They spent $100,000 putting a pool in. And they told me, it's like, some realtors sell homes that are $200,000. So you like miss the commission for a whole house. I was like, yeah, send me 2 or 3 people that are, in your network. And they invited me to Christmas party and introduced me to so many people. I was like, oh, she saved us 200,000. You want her as your realtor. I think I made that money like 10 times over from them.
And that is being genuine. That's being authentic. That's being real, right? Right there. Not going and pushing up to the high-end budget, but working with certain budgets, which, works with them. I think that is, again, that is our authentic self that we're talking, where we're talking to people all day long. And we have to somehow be genuine and be our authentic self. I mean, how much can you fake it?
All right, so let's change gears here before we run out of time here at the end.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Yeah, go for it, Jim.
While we're talking about buyer clients specifically, one of the best tools for being authentic and for having your clients, your buyers open up to you. I learned from Eric Hatch. Shout out to Hatch Coaching. Was telling your buyers that when we go out and look at houses, it's going to be my job when we're in the house to tell you all the reasons why you should not buy this place.
Yes.
Exactly.
I tell them the same thing, that I'm going to tell you all the reasons you should not buy a house. And you tell me all the reasons that you want that house. And I will still sometimes won't let you buy it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And that opens up a door that was previously closed for people. They actually will tell you exactly what they're looking for, and
it'll get you more in depth with their answers, like with their genuine. You'll get to know them on a different level to what really is it that they're looking for.
Yep.
Removing the threat, right? Like Priyanka said, that
exactly.
Worry the realtors are going to chalk them into something. So when you remove the threat, then that's when you get the real authentic answers. Because that's what I was going to say to Janki earlier, is the person who's not telling you their price point, he's not trying to not be honest with you. There's not a level of comfort there where he feels comfortable yet.
Right.
There's a train going by. I was trying to mute myself out and let you guys talk, but too late. The train's going by. There goes my train. All right. So Krista did say, by the way, I did want to throw this out there in case people watch this recording later. Krista, who's watching this, she typed in a really good thing. She said, I always lead with, help me understand, because I might have missed something.
Yeah, that's a good
That's one. A really good one, Krista. Thank you. Like, help me understand because I might have missed something. That's a really good line. Write that down, guys.
Yeah, it's another version of tell me more, which is my favorite thing to ask.
Tell me more why it means so much to you or anything like that. I think sometimes we don't even ask those questions. Like Priyanka and I sometimes don't even ask those questions. We're like, okay, I know exactly what's going to work for you. Let's go.
I have done it. I was just like, I know more than you, that what you want.
And you're hired for a reason, and I'm the professional in this field. So you're the professional as being software engineer. Do you think I know anything about that? No, I don't. I'm going to come to you for advice. But
I have told a surgeon one time that I won't tell you how to do surgery. You don't tell me how to do real estate. And we are best friends now.
There you go.
All right. So I want to know, so before we run out of time, how do you learn to be authentic? Like you guys are very authentic people. Were you always this way, or how did you learn to be authentic?
Experience, in my opinion. Experience of being in this industry for so long, being kicked and pushed and shoved. I know, just having that experience of being in this industry.
I think for me, it was being tired of being told to be fake.
Right.
It just never clicked with me. And when I was in professional industry or petroleum industry, I was told you need to dress up professionally. And I was like, I am a geologist. I go in slippers and I go in tennis shoes and jeans out in the field. Just because I'm in the office doesn't mean I have to be. And it was really suffocating for me.
Tim?
For me, it's learning to identify, figuring out inauthentic ways of being, identifying them and making a shift. So for me, one way of identifying, and I think this is true for a lot of people, is identifying an inauthentic way of being is that when something happens to me, somebody says something, somebody does something to me, and I am emotionally charged at that situation, or I want to lash out, or I want to say something, I want to do something. When I really look at it, the thing that I'm seeing over there with them is what is inauthentic with me.
The thing that you're seeing over, so like the thing that resonates in other people, or that's triggered in other people, that's what's you're seeing in yourself, really. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So either I see somebody do something and I'm like, oh my God, why are they doing that? So I'm seeing the behavior. So I know if I'm seeing the behavior, then there's something going on with me that's triggering that thing to say, oh, I see that. What's going on with that? Like, so that's something that's probably happening with me. Or if it's something that I'm reacting to, like somebody did something personally to me, what is it that's triggering that like reaction from that, and then like identifying what that is.
Interesting. That's what someone told me long ago. They said if you meet someone that you really don't like, that there's probably a quality or characteristic in them that you were worried you have in yourself or you have yourself, and that's why it's triggering you. Is that kind of the same thing?
Exactly the same thing.
It always made me mad when I heard that, because like, that's not true, but it probably is.
Well, I mean, I do have that. That triggered me this morning, right? So I have that side in me that sometimes maybe I say something and, it triggers somebody else, and I'm too honest, right? And that can be something that someone else might not want to hear, but it's out there. And I said it. I was too honest, and that was my genuine self. But when it came time for me to be in that position, the opposite position, how well did I take it? I screamed about it afterwards, but I said nicely, thank you,
That's so good. That's so good, Janki. That's such a good insight right there.
Yeah, so I think that is important to actually know and evaluate that we're all humans at the end of the day. We're all humans. We need to understand and realize that we have this authentic side in us, and we need to bring it out in our business. And we need, now, do we look at it in a way where is it integrity then at that point, or is it being too honest? Like Priyanka and myself, when we go out, are we classified as being too honest, or saying to our clients, no, you can't buy this, and no, you can buy this because this is more return of investment? Don't know, right? So you can never evaluate someone by saying you're too genuine, or you're too authentic, or you're not. I think it's a perspective at that point.
I don't think anybody has ever complained to me about me being too authentic. I have been told, like, you're too straightforward at times. It's like, you don't want me to be? It's like, no, we want you to be. We're just saying.
To be honest.
Right.
Yeah. And that's exactly what that client said to me. He says, and when I said, no, don't buy the house, I will not represent you if you buy this house, or if you want, because the wife loved it. And I said, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry to tell you this. And he goes, no, why are you sorry? I am so glad that you're being honest and you're being genuine about what you're trying to tell me, because now I know you have my interest at stake.
There's another, it brings up another great question to ask your clients. So I ask this question too, when I'm in like when I'm working with a new client, I say to them, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the most meek and 10 being the most honest, how honest do you want me to be with you?
Yeah.
What do they say?
Everyone is 8, 9, or 10. Everyone. So then when you are that brutally honest, you've already set the expectation, and they've already asked that from you. And so now there is no conversation of somebody saying, you're too honest with me.
Because you've gotten permission.
You've gotten permission.
I don't need permission to be honest. Right? I don't need permission to be authentic.
It's not about you, Priyanka. It's about the other people.
Oh, it's always about me. Come on, Jim.
Well,
and that's my true self.
My kids always tell me.
I forgot.
No, I will bring you right back.
Yeah, and they always tell me, why is it always about you? Why are you always the center of attention? Well,
why not?
It's all about me. It's always going to be about me. When it comes to
he's so nice.
When it comes to my client, it's different. It is about them, Priyanka, sometimes, you and I need to understand that part.
I know. I tell my clients it's going to be about me, but we will take care of you. And it's like, yeah, fine.
All right. So final thoughts to pull this together. Anything else you guys haven't said that you're like, oh man, how do you explain how to be radically authentic? Any last thoughts you guys have that you want to like?
How to be?
Yeah. How to be radically authentic.
Like I said, it's so easy to be you, be yourself versus trying to put a fake persona out there that is expected. Just be you.
Yep, just be you.
And there's nothing wrong with, like Jim said, like there's so many personalities out there. Why do we assume that I need to be like this for people to like me? Because there are people who would like you for who you are, and there are people who are not going to like you the way you are. And I don't need everybody to like me. I need my tribe, and my tribe loves me, and that's about it.
That's all.
Like
that
10,000 people doesn't have to love you. Those 10 people in your life, they love you, or 100 people in your life that love you and connect with you. That is a more genuine relationship versus wanting everybody to like you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I had to tell myself again. Like I said, I had to tell myself, listen, if this person doesn't like you and doesn't like what you have to offer with your heart, with the passion that you've put into building this course, it's okay. You know, as long as you know authentically deep down inside what you've built out of success, or, you know, or your team knows how hard you've worked, that's all that matters. My tribe, right?
Or you can call them and show up outside their house at 2 a.m. and tap on their window. And
With the radio.
Why don't you like my course? No, I'm kidding.
Tomatoes, catch.
Well, guys, this is a fun conversation as always. Like I said, there's no right answer here. I hope this was enjoyable for those of you watching this, right? You got something out of it. I would recommend take a piece of paper and write down a takeaway. Write down something that you either see yourself doing that you want to focus on and do more of. I already do a really good job of X, Y, Z and consciously focus on that. Or is there something that someone said they're like, ooh, that's really good. I want to put that into how I'm being. Because it's all about who you're being. Go ahead, Jim.
How about an actionable step?
Let's see it.
Right.
All right. So an actionable step would be to identify one way that you are being authentic. Identify one way that you are being authentic. And ask yourself, if this way of being was removed from me, well, how would that make a difference in my life?
I like that. It's a really interesting thought experiment. So,
actionable item. I like that.
So pick a way that they are currently being authentic and say, if I remove this, and what should that show them? What if they think through the like, what would happen if they remove that? What would that show them?
And stop caring about what you think other people think you should act like, and act like yourself.
All right. Be yourself. Be your authentic self. Who cares what someone else thinks? You know, that I have to tell you guys, I know we don't have much time, but I have to tell you guys, that took me years to build in my character. That took a long time for me to build, especially because I'm an emotional person. I'm a straight shooter. I don't care who you are, I'll say it how it is. But it took so long for me to build that side of me into my character with my clients. And now being sort of at a public figure level, it took me a long time to, it's taking me some time to build on it. Jesse, you would understand this, I'm sure. And even Priyanka and Jim would understand this because we're constantly working, you know, out there with people, and we're all public figures. You know what I mean?
The funny thing is, I don't care about what people think of me. I really care about what dogs think of me.
Oh.
So when I walk into clients' homes, first thing I get attracted to, like, their dogs have to like me. And if their dogs won't like me, I don't think I can concentrate. It has never happened so far, dogs like me. But if I ever walk into a situation where a dog doesn't like me, I don't think I'll be able to take on that. I will be emotionally distraught.
I love that. I love that. Oh my God.
And that is a takeaway. That's where we'll end this, because there is no answer for this one, but we're coming to the top of the hour. If it is a factor of what people think of you getting in the way and being a divide between your authentic self because you're of that concern or that idea of what dogs think of you or people, right? Either one, that's something to figure out for everybody watching this. How do you resolve that? What do you do? How do you shift that? That's something we will continue in a week or 2 weeks. So next week, Merry Christmas. Week after that, Happy New Year. The week after that, we'll be back.
We'll be
How about
back.
that? All right.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys. Enjoy your
Bye.
weekend. Bye, everybody.